thank you so much for being here today, Salima. Thank you for hosting us in your new office space as well. Congratulations on this.
Thank you for coming over. We definitely have to take you on a tour of the place. We are very grateful to have this place, and we have to thank Majority as well for this space. We are very grateful. New Life Stories is very grateful for the FMAS Trampoline Fund. The name of the fund is really what it has done for us. It has given us that trampoline to jumpstart some of our activities. With the fund, we have used to fund our family strengthening program, specifically in the area of providing interactive education program for our children. So what we have done is, we train our volunteers, and these trained volunteers go into the home of our children every week, every single week, at least for 1 to 2 hours a week, where they befriend the kids and they engage the kids in storytelling. So we make the storytelling come alive by having interactive activities to go with the storytelling. For example, when the kid is reading about volcano, our befrienders will actually come up and buy the kit to make a volcano.
Oh my god! So fun.
And they start. We have science kit. They learn to make slime, for example. There's also an activity that comes alive. So it's not just reading. With the kid, it's talking to the child about what's in the book, and then doing the activities that are in the book. So the fund has helped us to make this possible, to make the lesson come alive, to make the stories come alive. It's beyond just paper.
Actually, maybe share a little bit more about the people that you work with, your beneficiaries. Who are they?
The children that we work with comes from disadvantaged family. They come from a family with intergenerational trauma. This intergenerational trauma are from what we call adverse childhood experience, such as neglect, abuse, being exposed to parental drug use, being exposed to parental family violence, domestic violence, living in a home with a parents with mental health condition. So the children also experience mental health condition. The children are facing neglect, abuse, and all of this adverse experience. If we do not do anything, if we just let the child be the child, we do not provide that support, it would actually prolong the trauma. It will increase the toxic stress that they experience into the adulthood. That's why we go into the home of these children to provide the interactive education with them, to get them to talk, to get them to express their emotions of anger, emotions of sadness, or whatever that they're feeling, including emotion of joy and excitement. They get someone that comes into their home once a week, very consistent, very reliable, same time, same day, to hear them, to listen to them. This person comes, and it's a one-on-one relationship. Someone comes to the house and say, hey, I'm here, let's spend time together. And so we have seen a lot of changes in the kids, because they know, I have someone I can rely on who will turn up. I have someone I can turn to. I have someone I can talk to. And all these are done through something fun, which is storytelling, which is reading, which is doing interactive plays such as science kit, which is like I shared, making volcanoes, making slime, all of this. So this is what we do at New Life Stories. Beyond this, what we are also doing, we are also connecting these children in this home with their parents who are inside the prison. And we connect them through books, through storytelling, through audio storytelling. So the parents inside the prison write children's book. This is one of them. They write children's book. For their children, they write a children's book where they express expressions of love or message that they want to pass to their children, but in a children's story form, because we don't want a parent to be who have never been in the life of the child for the last 5 years, and then suddenly say, hey, you must study, don't be naughty. For the child, like, who are you? You've not been in my life for the last 5 years, and that's all you're telling me. We want the parents to say, I love you. And for a lot of the parents, when they write stories in a children's story, it becomes easier. It becomes easier for them to share and express their love to the child. So this is what they write. This is a story that the parents write, and this is a story which the mother wrote for the child, and this is a story which the father wrote for the child. And these stories not only are written by them, we also tape their voices, the stories of the voice, and pass it to the children so they can listen to the voices of their mothers or fathers at any time at home. So this is what we try to do. We try to help parents express love to the child feeling that, seeing and feeling the expression of love through words, through stories. We are trying to make education fun. We're trying to make education, it's not like, hey, this is the ball is red. That's not how this child is going to learn, because this child is living in a home where very often there is no education isn't prioritized, and the living condition is not conducive to learning. The TV is always on, radio is on all the time, and there's a lot of activities, people coming in and out of the house. So there's a lot of distraction. And for some of these children, they are neglected. There's no adult at all. They are, left to do whatever they want to do. And so that's why it's important that we make education fun. It's for them. For them to actually be reading a book and say, can you imagine? Can you just imagine yourself? Let us imagine ourselves as a child living in a home where everyone is screaming, talking at the same time. There's conflict, there's quarrel. And then this child is reading a book and he's so interested in the book that he wants to know what is in the next page. What's in the next page? That's what we want to do. We want to raise the curiosity in this child. We want to help this child be so interested in learning that whatever that happened, whatever distraction in the house, this child is going to read this book and say, I want to know what's happening next, because I am so interested in this story. That's what we try to do. And so that it becomes natural. Learning, reading becomes natural to the child, despite the distraction around them.
Yeah, and my understanding is that you work with children from a very young age, right? So before they are able to read, and who actually does this? Like, who teaches them?
So we are working with children from as young as 3 years old. So our befrienders are trained. We train them, we guide them. They are supported every week through our volunteer relation executive, as well as our therapists and our counselors. So they are supported, and they come into the home. We are with the child from the age of 3 until the age of 12.
Wow, amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, and really journeying through life with them. That sounds really amazing.
And right now, our volunteers are going to the home of 120 children every week.
Oh my gosh.
Every week.
Wow.
Every single week, we have 120 volunteers going into the home of the child that they are supporting.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a one-on-one relationship. So it is a very close-knit relationship, very close relationship.
Oh, wow, amazing. Who are these volunteers actually? Where are they? Are they students? Are they like corporates? Adults?
They are combination. We have some students, some adults. So we also have mother and child, father and child.
Volunteering together.
Yes, volunteering together as well.
Amazing.
Yeah. So we, with the funding from the Trampoline Fund, what we have done is not only we use to create books for the kids, for the kids to the parents, as well as interactive activity, but we also take the kids out for experiential learning. So the learning, the education is just not just confined to the home. The learning goes outside the house, beyond the house. We do take them out. We take them out to the zoo, to Sungai Buloh. We take them up to East Coast Park, where they learn about the environment, where they learn about recycling. So we do also take them out. We went to City Sprout, for example, where they learn to harvest plants. They learn about frogs. So when they learn about frogs, they actually touch a real frog too.
Oh, wow.
They get to touch a real frog. And we went to a fish farm where they actually get to catch fish. Yeah, the longkang fish, they get to catch a fish. So they learn about fish. They learn by being at the fish farm. Where they learn about plants by being at the farms itself. So we do take them out for experiential learning to extend their learning, their education beyond the homes.
That sounds like it's really back to what you were saying, about like piquing their curiosity about the world and really like bringing them out of their own homes, like helping them see the world in a bigger space as well.
And so what we want to do is plant that seed in the child so that even when we are not there, when we exit out of when they exit the befriending program after a few years, we want to make sure that we plant that seed. Even when we are not there, they will be picking the book and to read themselves. That's more important. We do not want them to just be reading when we are there. We want them to love reading, to love acquiring knowledge, to love seeking knowledge on their own. So even when we are not there, they will be doing on their learning on their own, searching for knowledge, finding out, be curious. And that's what we really want to do at the end of the day, is to plant that seed of curiosity, that seed of interest and thirst for discovering.
And on top of the education side of things, right? I understand that you guys also do like a more ecosystem support. So in the sense you mentioned, like, your caseworkers coming in. Actually, how do your caseworkers come in to support the children, and why is their role also integral on top of the volunteers who come in to read along with the children?
Every child is part of a family system. The child doesn't exist alone. So we feel that we need to enter the child system. We cannot just befriend this child. We cannot just have a volunteer to befriend this child. Even though it's every week, it's intensive, it's really interactive, that's not good enough. We enter the child system and we actually build bridge with the other key relationship in the child's father, the child's mother, the child's caregiver, often the grandmother. The child could be the school counselor. So we actually enter the child system and build bridge with everyone in this child's life. And very often when we enter the system, the bridge is fractured. It's broken, it's fractured. The child probably have a very broken relationship with the mother and the father, and probably only have good relationship with the grandmother. That's where we come in. That's where our professional social worker therapists come in to heal that broken bridge. They bridge a relationship, the child and the parents, father, mother, everyone, so that they all talk to each other, they converse and heal that broken relationship. And we need counselors for that. That's why we have counselors also entering the home to build bridges or to heal the broken bridges and fractured bridges. What the counselors does, the counselors also also run play therapy with the child, where the counselors can see the dynamics of the child. As well as family therapy with the parents. So the parents and the child are in therapy. Our therapists and our volunteers work hand in hand. For example, our volunteers goes to the home every week. They see the child every week. They play with the child. And they are usually the first one to know if there is something that is maybe the child is going through some difficult situation.
Like
They're having additional stress, additional anxiety. Sometimes when the parents are just coming out of prison, just before the parents coming out of prison, the child may be very stressed. Or after the parent has come out of the prison, there's very often an increased anxiety because the child say like, I thought I would be happier, and yet my parents is out. I'm not any happier. My father is not at home. My father is still missing in action, just like when they're in prison. So there's increased anxiety, there's increased stress and depression. So this is where our volunteers that come in every week, they are always the first to know. They are like the eyes and the ears. That's where they can raise a red alert. They will tell the counselors, hey, this child, I came yesterday and this is what the child said. So our counselors can come in immediately. So this is on top of what the counselors are already doing. They're already visiting the child like once in 2 weeks. But we also have the benefit of having someone giving immediate feedback on the child.
Yeah, so they can act immediately, especially because they are from a young age. And
so it's very important that we employ a systematic practice and enter the system of the child. So some of this child and their parents have been in the social system, in the social welfare system for 1-2 generation. So we say, no, we will enter your system. We go to your house. We will bridge the relationship of the key person in the child's life.
So maybe if you could share with us a story from the ground, right, about like maybe a child who has been through your system, who has been supported for a couple of years, and what has happened to them, like maybe from the beginning, how was the child like, what were some of the adverse childhood experiences or traumas that this child had in the past, and how through your program that child has grown out of it, especially with their parents rejoining them back in their lives after coming out of prison.
So I will share from the perspective of the child as well as a mother. So from one of the child that I always remember that we support, I remember in fact personally going to the house and asking the grandmother whether the child can join the program. And at the time the child was shy. He was he was not yet in primary 1. He was going to be in primary 1. He's very shy and he couldn't speak English. He was too shy to speak English. Even if he had known somewhat, he was too shy to say anything to me. I remember that. And one of the books that she really loved was The Hungry Caterpillar. And so that was when I say, hey, what's a story that you like? And she brought up The Hungry Caterpillar. And just looking at the pictures, she was telling me the story of why she loves the book. And she actually shared that she's very sad at school because she was in preschool. She's very sad at school because some of the classmates was calling her stupid for not saying anything in class. When the teacher asks her anything, she doesn't say anything. She doesn't raise her hand. She doesn't ask questions. And when she's asked any questions, she just shrugs and say, I do not know. And that actually got her other classmate to call her stupid, and she was very upset about it. She doesn't want to be called stupid. She really would like to be able to answer the question that teacher has asked her in school, but she doesn't know how. She doesn't know. She has a lot of fear of making mistake, in which she feels that if she were to answer the wrong, she will perhaps didn't give the right answer, it will reinforce her classmate who had called her stupid. And I remember hearing all this. I'm like, wow, but this child loves the book. She could tell me the story. So we had our learning friend going there every week reading, and that built her confidence to express her emotion, her feeling. She could ask questions, and slowly when she was in school, when someone said something, she was able to reply back. Because she was replying back, then the other said, hey, she actually wasn't stupid, she was just shy. that make her feel better. And that's what we did. We actually gave her the confidence. She was never stupid. She always knew what was being asked of her. She always knew the question, she always knew the answer, but she was just didn't have the confidence to express herself. So it was really very heartwarming for us to see her having the confidence to ask questions. And that was made possible because of the one-on-one relationship. She started speaking English in a one-on-one relationship. And it's not a big group. It's not like having this teacher and 30 students in class. That really frightened her to answer with 30 students. But one-on-one, she was able to, and slowly she developed. In fact, now she's in secondary school. This was some time back. It was really nice to see her. She's tried from going from every year, going to year on year. And I remember when I met her in primary 3, she said, hey, you know the boy who called me stupid, well, he wants to be my friend. Because he says, I know all the answers. He's like, I'm like, wow. She said she couldn't believe that she couldn't believe that she could turn around so much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So we're very grateful. There's another boy that we supported, and this boy, again, very shy. A lot of times they don't speak, not because they don't understand how to speak English, they don't understand it's just that they're just so gripped with low self-esteem, a lot of insecurity. They're so afraid of making mistake, so afraid of saying the wrong thing. So we had to build their confidence to say there's no such thing as a wrong thing. Whatever that you want to say, just say it. You will not be penalized. So for this particular boy too, we had his learning friend was a group of boys from Wachong. Yes. So the group of boys, they were 14 years. They were at that time Sec 2, 14-year-old boys. Who goes every week. And of course, they also were very interactive. There are parts where they say, oh, let's take a break, we play football. Let's take a break, we show you some K-pop moves. Yeah,
So cute.
Yeah, they're like, do K-pop move.
Yeah.
And at the time when we first met him, he didn't have any dream. He felt that he didn't think he could dream and be anyone that he wants to be. And he didn't know of the importance of planning, right? Then when he met these boys were very good planners. For example, even the week before the exam, they would turn up for their befriending. And in fact, when I asked them, like, hey, how come your exam is just next week? How come you never cancel your befriending session? Yeah. They say, no, it's important for this guy, for this person, this boy, for us to turn up. And we know we're going to spend 2 hours with him. So we've already studied 2 hours additional before turning up, right? And that, just by them having this behavior, modeling this behavior, this boy who sees these two abang, or he calls his big brother, planning, having all this routine to take away stress, anxiety from school. Thought like, wow, it's quite interesting. And so he does the same thing. He does the same thing. He studies ahead. If he knows that I will be missing, I will not be able to study for the next 2 hours or 3 hours because I need to accompany my grandmother to the polyclinic. So he does that. And he also started having dreams of what he can be. When we met him, he says, no, I can't be anything. I can only aspire to do the kind of work that my parents were doing. He said, no, I don't think I can do anything beyond cleaning. His parents were a cleaner. His mother was a cleaner. And it's a good job. I say cleaning is a noble job. I'm not my mother is a cleaner, so I just tell you it's a good job. And then after a few of the befriending sessions, we asked him what's he going to do, what he wants to do. He says, he likes to solve problems. He said, I would like to work in cybersecurity because I like to solve problems. And also, I like to catch bad people who have done wrong. He has a very strong sense of justice.
Wow.
He says, I see, people being scammed. I see people doing the wrong thing, and I would like to do something which is in the line of justice. And I also enjoy tech, so I think I'll do that. So it's quite interesting to see a boy having no dream and figuring out, yes, because his befriender had dreams. At the age of 14, they already tell him like, this is what we want to do. When we graduate from university, this is what we want to do. They say, why not just try? Nothing venture, nothing gain, right?
Yeah.
So we see, it's very heartwarming to see someone opening their horizon and believing that, it's possible, I can do it. I can achieve those. I can achieve some of these dreams I have.
Yeah, and it's really them breaking out of the intergenerational cycle, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So these are some of the things that we see. Another one I want to share is about a mother. One of the mother that we work with, she was in prison. She was introduced to drugs at a very young age, at the age of 14. So she's a child, and introduced to drugs at the age of 14 by her own mother. And she's exposed to her both parents taking drugs in the home. Both her father, mother, and her uncle are taking drugs in the house. So she sees them taking drugs. She had been desensitized to drugs. She didn't see that as being wrong. And she said when she was growing up, at the age, before the age of 14, because that's when she took drugs, she said, all her life as a kid, seeing her parents taking drugs, seeing her uncle taking drugs in the house, one of the questions that she always asks herself, why is it my mother loves drugs more than me? And that my mother always spent more time with the drugs than me. So she was always curious, and she said, at the age of 40, she decided to take drugs because she said, I want to know why my mother loved drugs more than me. So in her mind, in order to know why her mother loved drugs more than her, she need to take the drugs in order to find out. And so she took the drugs to find out why her mother chose this substance over her. And so once, because drugs was available in the house, she took it. Her mother like, hey, let's take it, let's take it together. And then after she started taking, she said, hey, this is the only way I can bond with my mother. This is the only way I can spend time with my mother. Because my mother is always taking drugs. In order for me to spend time with my mother is to take drugs with her. Otherwise, she doesn't spend time with me. So she continued taking drugs because she wants to spend time with her mother. And this is a child reasoning, right? Because they're exposed to it, they're like, okay, I want to spend time. This is what my mother do. I take drugs with her. It was when she was caught. She was caught. She went to prison. That's when she started thinking, like, what? By that time when she was caught, she already had 2 kids. She took it very early on as well. She started taking drugs at 14. She had her first child at 15, and then her second child at 17. And so when she got caught, that's when she started thinking. She said, actually, I am doing the same thing that my mother did to me. I'm taking this drug. I'm ignoring my 2 sons. And my 2 sons is probably feeling the same way that I used to feel when my mother was absent. Was gone. She said, that kind of thing. She said, no, she really need to break the cycle. If she didn't break the cycle, her 2 sons will be in the same situation as her. Her 2 sons will be wondering like, oh, how come my mother loves drugs more than me? And then her 2 sons might also think like, oh, in order to bond with my mother, I should also take drugs. So that's when, that's when we enter into her life. We met her in prison. We started working with her, supporting her and her 2 kids. she continued to grow and grow. She's been out. She's been clean for over 5 years now, and we were in her children's life from the time they were very young. And when we brought her children, at the time she didn't have a relationship with her children because she was stoned most of the time. So when we brought her children to the prison, she was so grateful. She said, "Wow," she said, "these people, I don't even know them, and yet they enter into my children's life. They're there every week, befriending the child, engaging the child, and then bringing her children to the prison for her to meet and hug and bond and and start the relationship again." She's like, "Wow, we definitely." She decided, like, I definitely want to make sure that I do what is best for my children, and she has. When she came out, they have very strong relationship. They have journals. We started writing, so she wrote books, and one of her stories is in this book.
Amazing, yeah.
She wrote a story for her children. Her children were like so shocked, like, "Wow, my mother can write! Wow, my mother came out with this story," and she came out with those stories all on her own, right? They were like, "Wow, my mother is actually, more talented than we think she is." And she started writing. Her children started writing. They write letters to each other, and now when they are out, they actually write love journals to each other. They write gratitude journals to each other. So the children were like, what they are grateful for. Every day they will write. Each child will write what they're grateful for, and then they will give it to her to read, because they already had this habit of writing to each other even when she was not around. Or they have this habit of sharing stories. Because she said, "I'm at work. I really want to know about my life, my children's life." So it's quite beautiful. We when we read the gratitude page, it's like usually a page, just a page, But or sometimes they just write what they did, and then at the end of the day, when the mother come home from work, she said, "Oh, this is my gratitude page of my stories." So we really love that they continue expressing love to each other through words, through orally and through words.
I think reflecting on what you have shared so far, really the work that New Life Stories does really sounds very life-changing in both the lives of the children as well as the parents. So doing the work that you're doing, I imagine is not very easy as well. So what are some of the challenges that you guys are facing, and what are the kinds of support that you need in order to continue doing the good work that you're doing?
We love the work that we do, and I must say we're very fortunate. I'm very fortunate and grateful that I really have the team that we have. The team, they're really passionate, dedicated. They're in the life of this children, the family. Each of them, every single one at New Life Stories, enter the system of the child and support the child. So I'm really grateful for the team at New Life Stories. And the challenges that we continue to have is of course the lack of funding. I have to be honest with you that continues to be a challenge. What we are doing is something quite new in Singapore. This systemic practice approach that we have employed is actually quite new in Singapore. It's not new globally, but new in Singapore, because having volunteers, having social worker therapies enter the family system, and then supporting the whole family instead of just one person, which is the incarcerated person, or just the child. We support the whole family and we bridge relationship. This is quite new. People often ask, like, "Wow, how come? Why can't you just support the person who's inside the prison? Or why can't you just support this child?" We always tell them, this child doesn't exist alone. The key relationship in this child's life affect this child too. Or the person in prison, the mother or father also doesn't exist alone. There's always 4 or 5 kids, right? So there is always a more is needed to do to support this kind of family work, this kind of system work. And our biggest challenge is the lack of funding for the work that we do. And this is what happened when you are innovator, right? When you're innovator, when you are ahead of the curve, when you are the first few to enter the sector with this approach, there isn't others that have been doing the same thing. There's always a lot of people like, why must you do this? Why can't we just use, business as usual? Why can't we have this business as usual approach? We say no, we cannot have the same business as usual approach that we have been used the last 20 years, the last 30 years, because then how come this child is could be the third generation in prison? The mother is already the second generation. The father could be there's intergenerational trauma. A new approach is needed. Innovative approach is needed to address intergenerational trauma. So we cannot have business as usual approach. We need to do something different and throw the spanner in the wheels. And that's who we are. We are that spanner. We are the spanner.
So if in the world where you have all the funding, right, what is your goal for New Life Stories? What do you guys hope to achieve? What do you hope to achieve in the next 5 years?
We were this approach has worked. For example, we see really huge reduction in recidivism rate among the fathers and mothers that we support, compared to the national data, national benchmark. So what we would like to do is to support more families, to support more children. At the end of the day, to break the cycle of intergenerational incarceration, intergenerational trauma, intergenerational abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse. This is what we want to do. We want to take a long-term approach in breaking cycles.
Amazing. Okay, so we're coming to the end of the interview. So do you have anything that you would like to say? Would you like to send a message to your donors or supporters of the project?
Yes, definitely. First of all, I would like to say thank you to the donors that have supported us through the FMAS Trampoline Fund. We are very, very grateful. You have given us this trampoline to jumpstart, to jump into supporting more of our children in this interactive educational befriending program that we have. So I would like to say grateful for the bottom of our heart. And I'm speaking on behalf of everyone at New Life Stories, as well as the children, especially the children. I want to say thank you so much. You have our deepest gratitude. I hope you will also share your bountiful harvest, your bountiful abundance with all of us, with all of the families in need. And I'm sure you will. Thank you so much.